know something? It's hot. You'd think they'd at least air condition the place. Just drop dead in court. That's better. So how'd you like that business about the knife? Over here, filling your story? I mean, it had no fingerprints.
Well, you gotta expect that. You know what you're dealing with. They want this case closed.
Yeah, I suppose.
Alright, gentlemen. Let's take our seats.
Alright, this better be fast. I've got 6-2 Warriors game tonight.
Let's start. How about sitting down? It's easy to see. Someone else killed the kid's father. Is everybody here?
Old man's inside.
Forgive me, guys. Didn't mean to keep you waiting.
That's fine.
It's okay. Find a seat. Alright. Now, you guys can handle this any way you want. What do you want to do now?
Let's vote now. Maybe we can all go home.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
Alright. Right, let's vote now.
Okay. All those voting not guilty, raise your hands. 9, 10, 11. That's 11 for not guilty. Okay. Guilty. 1. Right. Okay. 11 to 1. Not guilty. Now we know where we are.
Somebody's in the left field. You think he's guilty?
I don't know.
Never saw a more innocent man in my life. You sat right in court and heard the same thing I did. The man's no killer. Kid's innocent. You could tell.
He's 19 years old, already an adult. He's responsible for his own actions.
That's young enough. Knifing his own father? 4 inches into the chest? An innocent 19-year-old kid wouldn't do that.
Do you believe his story?
I don't know whether I believe it or not. Maybe I don't.
So what'd you vote guilty for?
There were 11 votes for not guilty. It's not so easy for me to raise my hand and send a possible killer back on the streets.
Who says it's easy for me?
No one.
What, just because I voted fast? I think the guy's innocent. You couldn't change my mind if you talked for 100 years.
I don't want to change your mind. I just want to talk for a while. Look, this boy's been kicked around all his life. You know, living in a slum, his mother's been dead since he was 9. That's not a very good start. He's a tough, angry kid. I think we need to consider all the possibilities.
I don't mind telling you guys this. The prosecution had their chance. Look, we're all adults here. The witnesses were Puerto Rican. You know you can't trust them. Why are you so racist?
Off topic!
Stop arguing.
Right.
If we're going to discuss this case, let's discuss the facts.
I think that's a good point.
If you gentlemen don't mind, I'm going to close the window. It was blowing on my neck.
I have an idea. We need to convince this guy that we're right and he's wrong.
That sounds good enough. Let's go around the table.
Okay, let's start.
Right. I guess you're first.
Well, I just think he's innocent. I thought it was obvious. I mean, nobody proved otherwise.
Nobody has to prove otherwise. He's innocent until proven guilty. But I can prove that he's guilty.
Well, I thought he was innocent.
Okay, let's get to the facts. Number 1, let's take the old man who lived on the 2nd floor right underneath the room where the murder took place. At 10 minutes after 12, at the night of the killing, he heard loud noises from the upstairs apartment. He said it sounded like a fight. Then he heard the kid say to his father, if anyone would believe it, "I'm gonna kill you." A second later, he heard the body falling, and he ran to the door of his apartment, looked out, and saw the kid running down the stairs and out of the house. Then he called the police. They found the father with the knife in his chest. The coroner fixed the time of death around midnight. The main problem with his testimony was that the old man could not have possibly heard him say, I'm gonna kill you over the loud noise of the L train. I mean, the defense left no doubt in our minds.
If he couldn't hear anything over the noise of the L train, then how did he know to call the police? The boy had an alibi, claimed he was at the movies, and he had the ticket to prove it.
That's right. Did you hear that? That's absolutely right.
Look, what about the woman across the street? Her testimony is so flimsy. She was partying the night before.
That's right. She claimed she saw the killing, didn't she?
Just a minute. Here's a woman who's hungover and gets up to hurl. Anyway, she looks out the window and right across the street she sees the kid stick the knife into his father. She's known the kid all his life. His window's right opposite hers across the L tracks, and she swore she saw him do it through the windows of a passing elevated train. But she's drunk and Puerto Rican, so what good is her word?
I'd like to ask you something. How come you believe the kid? He's one of them, too, isn't he?
You think you're pretty smart, don't you? Now take it easy.
Come on, sit down. What are you letting him get you all riled up for? Relax.
Let's calm down now. It's your turn.
Pass.
How about you?
I don't know. I started to be convinced that he was innocent, you know? With the argument of the defense. But didn't the people across the hall say something about an argument between the father and the boy around 7 o'clock that night? I mean, I can be wrong.
I think it was 8 o'clock, not 7.
They heard the father hit the boy twice, and then saw him walk angrily out of the house. That's motive.
Well, it doesn't exactly prove anything. It's just part of the picture.
Anything else?
No.
How about you?
I don't know. Most of it's been said already. We can talk all day about this thing, but I think we're wasting our time. An innocent kid wouldn't do that.
Just look at the kid's record. At 15 years old, he was in reform school. He stole a car. He's been arrested for mugging. He was picked up for knife fighting. I think they said he stabbed somebody in the arm. Ever since he was 5 years old, his father beat him up regularly. He used his fists.
He's a kid. That's how they are, you know. I used to have a kid. When he was 8 years old, he ran away from a fight. I hate to say it, but I felt ashamed. I told him right out, I'm gonna make a man out of you, or I'm gonna bust you up into pieces trying. 3 years ago, when he was 15, we got into an argument about something stupid. Can't even remember what it was. He ran out of the house and he got hit by a car. I don't want to see another kid die. Alright, let's get on with it.
We're missing the point here. This boy, let's say he's the product of a filthy neighborhood and a broken home. We can't help that. They're trying to clean up those neighborhoods right now. This is why he's a perfect target to pin the murder on.
You said it there. All these people in the slums are potential criminals. I don't want any part of them, Puerto Ricans. Believe me. That's why I'm voting for Trump.
I lived in the slums all my life.
Oh, now, wait a second.
I didn't even have a backyard to play in when I was a kid.
Now, let's be reasonable. There's nothing personal.
There is something personal.
Come on now, he didn't mean you. Let's not be so sensitive. I can understand his sensitivity.
Now, let's stop bickering. We're wasting our time. It's your turn.
Alright. I had a peculiar feeling about this trial. Somehow I felt that the prosecution never conducted a thorough cross-examination. I mean, they were appointed by the court, but they hardly seemed interested. Too many questions were left unasked. Like about the switch knife. I'd like to see it again, Mr. Foreman.
We all know what it looks like. I don't see why we have to look at it again. What do you think?
He has a right to see exhibits and evidence.
Alright, that's okay with me.
This knife is a pretty strong piece of evidence, don't you agree? I do. After all, it's a murder weapon. The boy admits going out of his house at 8 o'clock after being slapped by his father. Or punched. He went to a neighborhood store and bought a switch knife. The storekeeper was arrested the following day when he admitted selling it to the boy. It's a very unusual knife. The storekeeper identified it and said it was the only one of its kind he had in stock. The boy got it as a present for his friend. Such a sweet kid. Am I right so far?
Right. You bet he's right. Now listen to this man. He knows what he's talking about.
Next, the boy said that on the way home, the knife must have fallen out of a hole in his pocket. That he never saw it again. The knife has no fingerprints linking it to him. He wasn't even home at the time of the killing. He has the ticket. It's possible, except why aren't the boy's fingerprints on it? The knife had absolutely no fingerprints. Obviously, the killer would wear gloves, but why would the boy wear gloves to buy the knife? It was summer. Way too hot to wear gloves and not look suspicious. If someone else killed the boy's father, it would be more advantageous for the knife to have the boy's fingerprints on it. Aren't you trying to make us accept a pretty incredible coincidence? The killer could have just gotten rid of all of the fingerprints. I'm not trying to make anyone accept it. I'm just saying it's possible. I mean, it's easier to wear gloves than wipe off the prints.
And I'm saying it's not possible.
He may have lied. Do you think he lied?
No, that's a stupid question. He's an honest kid.
Do you think he lied? You don't have to ask me that. You know my answer. He's been honest throughout the trial. Do you think he lied?
I don't know.
Now wait a second. What are you, the prosecution? Listen, there's still 11 of us who think he's not guilty. You're alone. What do you think you're going to accomplish? If you want to be stubborn and hang this jury, he'll be tried again and found innocent.
You're probably right.
So what are you going to do about it? We can be here all night.
It's only one night. A killer may be set free.
Well, whose fault is that?
Do you think maybe you
Perhaps
could do
this
it over
is not
again?
the
He
point.
didn't kill his
No
father.
one
He
said
wasn't
anything.
home.
Listen,
I
what
can't
I was
believe you
going
guys.
to say.
I can't understand a word in here.
He's right. I think we gotta get on with it.
Well, what do you say? You're the one holding up the show.
I've got a proposition to make. I want to call for a vote. I want each of you to vote by secret ballot. I'll abstain. If there are still 11 votes for not guilty, I won't stand alone. We'll take in a not guilty verdict right now.
Okay, let's do it.
That sounds fair. Does everyone agree?
Yeah.
Pass these along. Not guilty. 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 Guilty. Not guilty. How do you like that?
Who was it? I think we have a right to know. Excuse me, this was a secret ballot. We agreed on this point, no? If the gentleman wants it to remain a secret. What do you mean? There are no secrets in here. I know who it was. You come in here and you vote not guilty, and then all of a sudden, this jerk starts to point out that this kid is bringing forth stereotypes that you've spent your life trying to shove behind you. So you change your vote. If that isn't the most despicable...
Hold it!
hold it. We're trying to keep an innocent man off of death row. And all of a sudden, we're paying attention to fairy tales.
Now, just a minute.
Please, I would like to say something here. I've always thought that a person was entitled to have unpopular opinions in this country. This is the reason why I came here. I wanted to have the right to disagree. In my own country, I'm ashamed to say...
What do we have to listen to now? The whole history of your country?
Yeah, let's stick to the subject. I want to know why you changed your vote.
He didn't change his vote. I did. Maybe you'd like to know why.
No, we wouldn't like to know why.
The man wants to talk.
Thank you. This gentleman chose to stand alone with us. That's his right. It takes a great deal of courage to stand alone even if you believe in something strongly. He left the verdict up to us. He gambled for support and I gave it to him. I want to hear more. The vote is 10 to 2.
That's fine. If the speech is over, let's go on.
Look, buddy, I was a little excited. Well, you know how it is. I didn't mean to accuse you. Nothing personal. We have no time for that. I have a game to get to. So tell me this. Why do you think he's guilty?
So far, it's only a feeling I have. Feeling perhaps you don't understand.
A feeling? What are you gonna do? Send a kid off to die over a feeling? What about the facts?
Lend me your pen. Wait a minute! This isn't a game! What do you think you're doing? Alright, let's take it easy. You wanna go?
No, please. I don't want any fights in here.
Did you see him? The nerve! The absolute nerve!
Alright, forget it. It don't mean anything.
How about we all calm down?
This isn't a game. Who does he think he is?
Earlier you were asking about the facts. Let's look at the facts. An L takes 10 seconds to pass a given point, or 2 seconds per car. That L had been going by the old man's window for at least 6 seconds, and maybe more before the body fell. According to the woman, the old man would have had to hear the boy say, "I'm going to kill you," while the front of the L was running past his nose. It's not possible that he could have heard it, or so the defense said, but this would suggest that the woman saw what she claimed to have seen at the time that her intoxicated mind registered. The issue is none of you believe that the woman is a reliable witness, despite being so eager to accept the accuracy of her testimony when it is used to nullify the old man's experience.
Is there anything else?
I'd like to change my vote to guilty.
Are you sure?
Yes, I'm sure.
The vote is 9-3 in favor of not guilty.
Well, if that isn't the end, what are you basing it on? Stories this guy made up? He should write for Amazing Detective Monthly. He'd make a fortune. There was a prosecution, wasn't there? Why didn't they bring up all these points?
The prosecution can't think of everything.
You're honestly siding with him? He sits here and pulls stories out of thin air. Now we're supposed to believe that the old man got up out of bed and ran to the door in his state and saw the kid run downstairs 15 seconds after the killing.
Maybe he didn't run to the door.
Ran, walked. What's the difference? He got there. The old man still supposedly ran out of the hallway in 15 seconds and saw the boy run down the stairs. There's no way that he could have went through that hallway in that time.
Are you sure? How long have we been in this jury room?
I'd say about an hour and a half.
It's been exactly 48 minutes.
It feels like it's been exactly 48 years.
So what if it felt like 15 seconds to that old man? How often do we estimate time?
Quite frequently. I think it's possible.
You think? Now listen to me, you people. I've seen all kinds of dishonesty in my day, but this little display takes the cake. You can't have somebody die over some wild guess.
This isn't just some wild guess. You just refuse to accept the truth because you don't want to see another kid die. Such as what happened to your son.
Shut up! You don't know what you're talking about.
Oh, I'm not right. This isn't your way of atoning for your son's death, your own selfish reason. You not wanting to take responsibility for your own actions.
Don't start with me. You've been pretending to know everything for a while now.
You know, I'm sorry for you. Truly, I am. You're not man enough to accept the truth.
Shut up, shut up, shut up, shut up!
You're pathetic.
Shut up! I'll kill him! Let me go! Kill him, I'll kill him, I'll kill him!
You don't really mean that you'll kill him, do you?
Is everything all right in here? I heard a noise.
No, there's nothing wrong.
Well, what are you looking at?
I don't see why we have to behave like children here.
Nor do I. We have a responsibility. This is a remarkable thing about democracy. That we are... What is the word? Notified. That we are notified by mail to come down to this place and decide on the guilt or innocence of a man we have not known before. We have nothing to gain or lose by our verdict. This is one of the reasons why we are strong. We should not make it a personal thing.
I think maybe we should try another vote. Mr. Foreman?
That's alright with me. Anyone doesn't want to vote?
Alright, let's do it. I want an open ballot. Let's call out our votes. I want to know who stands where.
That sounds fair. Anyone object? Alright, I'll call off your jury numbers. I vote not guilty. Number 2,
Guilty.
number 3,
Not guilty.
number 4,
Not guilty.
number 5,
Guilty.
number 6,
Guilty.
number 7,
Not guilty.
number 8,
Guilty.
number 9, guilty. Number 10, not guilty. Number 11,
Guilty.
number 12.
Not guilty.
I'll tell you something. The crime is being committed right in this room. The vote is 6-6.
I'm ready to walk into court right now and declare hung jury. There's no point in this going on anymore. I go for that too. Let's take it into the judge and let this kid take his chances with 12 other people.
You mean you still think there's room for a reasonable doubt?
Yes, I do. I beg your pardon. Maybe you don't understand the term reasonable doubt. What do you mean I don't understand it? Who do you think you are to talk to me like that? Do you hear what she's saying? She comes over here looking for a better life, and before she can even take a breath, she's bossing us around. She's so conceited.
Wait a second. Nobody's asking where you came from
I was born right here.
or where your father came from. Maybe it wouldn't hurt us to take some advice from people looking for a better life. Maybe they've learned something that we don't know. We're not so perfect.
Please, I am used to this. It is alright. Thank you.
It's not all right.
Okay, I apologize. Is that what you want?
That's what I want.
Alright, let's stop the arguing. Who's got something constructive to say?
Well, something's been bothering me a little. this whole business about the stab wound and how it made the downward angle, you know?
Don't tell me we're gonna go over it again. They went over it and over it in court. I've heard enough of it. The boy wouldn't have stabbed downward because he knows how to use a switch knife and it's impractical to stab downward. You know that. That's why it couldn't have been the boy. He's an experienced knife fighter. He would have known how to stab underhanded.
What if he was trying to deter the evidence away from himself? He knew that it's not practical for an experienced knife fighter to stab downward. This is why he would have stabbed downward in order to make it look like it wasn't him. You still can stab downward. It's not like it's impossible.
I don't believe it.
Neither do I. You're giving us a lot of nonsense.
What do you think? Well, I don't know. What about you?
Listen, I'll tell you something. I'm a little sick of this whole thing already. We're getting nowhere fast. Let's break it up and go home. I'm changing my vote to guilty. You're what? You heard me. I've had enough. What do you mean you've had enough? That's no answer. I think perhaps you're right. This is not an answer. What kind of man are you? You have sat here and voted not guilty with everyone else because there are some basketball tickets burning a hole in your pocket. Now you have changed your vote for the same reason. I do not think you have the right to play like this with a man's life. This is an ugly and terrible thing to do. Now wait a minute. You can't talk like that to me. I can talk like that to you. If you want to vote guilty, then do it because you are convinced that man is guilty. If you believe he is not guilty, then vote that way. Or do you not have the guts to do what you think is right? Now listen, is he guilty or not guilty? I told you, guilty. Why? I don't have to say. You have to say it. Why do you think he's guilty? I don't think he's guilty.
I want another vote.
Okay. There's another vote called for. I guess the quickest way is a show of hands. Anyone object? Alright. Those voting guilty, raise your hands. 9. All those voting not guilty? 3. The vote is 9 to 3 in favor of guilty. I don't understand you people. How can you believe this kid is guilty? Look, you know how those Puerto Rican witnesses lie? I don't have to tell you. They don't know what the truth is. You know, they get drunk and bang! Someone's dead and they think they can testify on a murder case. Nobody's blaming them. It's their nature. That's how they are. You know what I mean? Ignorant. Human life doesn't mean as much to them as it does to us. They have no qualms about him dying. Hey, where are you going? Look, these people are drinking and partying all the time. And if somebody gets killed, so what? Somebody gets killed. They don't care. Oh sure, there are good things about them too. Look, I'm first to say about Puerto Ricans. I've known a few who were pretty decent, but that's the exception. Most of them, it's like they have no feelings. They can do anything. What's going on here? I'm speaking my piece. And you, listen to me! They're no good! There's not one of them who's any good. We better watch out. Take it from me. Those witnesses. Well, you don't know about them. Listen to me! What are you doing? I'm trying to tell you something!
Had enough. If you spout your racist nonsense again, I'm going to split your skull.
I'm only trying to tell you.
Yes.
I still believe the boy is innocent. I'll tell you why. A key witness was drunk and hungover. Who knows what she actually saw?
That's right. As far as I'm concerned, that's an important testimony, yet her state made it least believable.
I don't see how you can vote for acquittal. What do you think about it? Well, maybe. There's so much evidence to sift through. That was my feeling.
What time is it?
It's 6:10.
It's too late. You don't suppose they'd let us go home and finish in the morning. I've got a kid with mumps. Not a chance.
Does anyone think there is still a reasonable doubt?
I think he's not guilty.
Does anyone else? No, I'm convinced. You're alone.
I don't care whether I'm alone or not. I have a right.
You have a right.
Well, I told you I think the kid's not guilty. What else do you want?
Your arguments?
I gave you my arguments.
We're not convinced. We're waiting to hear them again. We have time.
Listen, what's the matter with you? You're the guy, you made all the arguments. You can't turn now, an innocent man's gonna die. He can die. Stay with me.
I'm sorry. There are no doubts in my mind. We're waiting.
Well, you're not going to intimidate me. I'm entitled to my own opinion. It's going to be a hung jury. That's it.
There's nothing we can do about that. Except, I hope that some night, maybe in a few months, you'll get some sleep. You're all alone.
It takes a great deal of courage to stand alone.
All right.
Action.
Three.
Alexis, stop it. It's a mine.
Well, I'm scared of it.
He wasn't even home at the time of killing.
Oh my god.
They're only jurors, Andrew. Wait a minute. Was Sarah just saying 8 sign?
Yeah, no, she was saying 4 something.
Nice
That's why I'm voting for Trump.
Wait, was that a thing?
Yes. I can't take high school life seriously.
See action.
Yeah, true.
Go right now.
Action! Foreman, Whoa, Peter, Foreman!
Ma'am, I can't even understand. Ma'am, obviously, ma'am, obviously you are too high for this. I do not think you should be in this jury room right now. Okay, you need to get out. Get out. Get out. You think I'm confused? I am not confused right now, sweetheart. Okay, calm down. Why are you becoming You keep confusing me for you! Miss! She gets schizophrenia! Do you hear her? She's so My goodness. Sir, I'm gonna need you to stop filming. Stop filming. Sir, that is not appropriate. Stop filming.
Okay, go.
You can stop. Sir! Andrew, sit back in your seat.
Alright, Jen. Let's take our seats. It's easy to see. Someone else killed the kids. Just kidding. Stop.
Is everybody here? Old man's inside. Forgive me. It's okay. Glad to see you. Alright. Now you guys can handle this any way you want. What do you want to do first? Foreman! It goes 49, Foreman! 7!
It's been a minute and no one has passed through the hall. Okay. Action.
I am. Okay. I'm gonna sit down.
I want to hear more. The boat is sent to two.
Hello?
Yeah, we don't even need you right now.
Yes, sir. Go.
Listen, can you see by the dawn's early light? So proudly.
Okay, go. 5.
Okay.
Sarah, you got to sit down.
Oh,
I'm
God.
lost.
Oh my God.
I don't know. Most of it's been said already. We can talk all day about this thing, but I think we're wasting our time.
Action.
Guilty. Not guilty. 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 Not guilty. Not guilty. Not guilty. Guilty. Not guilty. Guilty. Not guilty. Guilty. Whoa!
That was so gross.
This is Andre Freespace Sasser, also known as Freespace, also known as Dewey the Turtle, also known as Megamind.
Also known as stupid.
Wow, okay. No, that's not one. You better cut like all of those out.